This video will go over the various discussion board settings possible in D2L. Each individual D2L user can customize the look and navigation of their discussion board with just a few easy clicks. Note that in this video we are looking specifically at a student view of discussion board settings. Instructors have even more customization options available to them. Right now we are looking at the default student view of the discussion board. Notice that there is a reading pane below the list of message threads, and the messages and replies appear as a list of subjects only. Clicking on items in this list causes them to appear in the reading pane at the bottom. This is the default view of the discussion board. However, it's possible to change the appearance of your discussion board area via the settings link. No matter where you are in the discussion board area, you should see a settings link in the upper right-hand corner. Clicking settings will either open personal settings in the current window or bring it up in a new window like it does here. The first section of personal settings is display settings. We can see that by default, the Show the Preview pane box is checked, but the Show Discussions Topics list, Show the Search Bar, and Display Deleted Messages options are not. Let's look at what the discussion board looks like if I switch all of these settings. First of all, notice that now the Discussions Topics list is here in a new module on the left-hand side of our screen. Also note the appearance of the search bar in the Message Topics list and the disappearance of the reading pane. Now if I want to view a message, I click it and it appears in a new browser window rather than in the preview pane. You can also see that previously deleted messages are now visible but grayed out. You can choose which of these settings you want to change. In this case, I'm going to leave on the search bar and return my preview pane, but remove the discussions list and the deleted messages. Notice that now I still have a search bar, but there's no list on the left-hand side, and I have my preview pane again. Now we'll look at the next two areas of the settings screen. In these areas, you'll determine your default message list view and your default message list style. First, let's see what happens when we change from threaded to unthreaded view. I'm also going to remove the preview pane to make this a little easier to see. The change here is that replies no longer appear indented or in an outline form. All the posts and replies appear with the same indentation, though the replies usually have an RE in the subject line to identify them. I prefer to see which posts are replies at a glance, so I'm going to switch back to the threaded view rather than the unthreaded view. In the next section, we decide whether we want grid style or reading style. Remember that in grid style, which is the default, you see a list of subjects and you have to click on a message subject to see that message's content. Look what happens when I switch to reading style. Suddenly, my preview pane is still gone, but it's not necessary because all of the posts for this topic are now visible on one big scrollable screen. And I can read all of the posts on this particular topic at once. That's the reading style message list style. In the next field, clicking message fields to display and turning on the message ID will simply display a long ID number for each message post. The character limit checkbox will tell D2L to limit the number of characters that display in the message list. To get a better feel for this, I'm going to switch back to grid style, and then I'm going to turn on the message ID and limit the number of characters of the subject to display in the message list to 10. Now you can see that all of my subjects are very short with ellipses indicating that they have been truncated. I also have this ID column that assigns a seemingly random number to the messages in my discussion board. I'd prefer to see an entire subject at a glance, so I'm going to turn off the character limits. The final option in this discussion settings window is the reply settings. And this is where you can determine whether or not to include by default the original message text in your reply posts. Now this may be something your instructor has a preference about, so make sure to check with them before you turn off the automatic include original message option. Generally, once you have set these options in your course, they will be set for all of your D2L courses, so you can have the same discussion board view in every course you take. There's not a right or wrong answer as to what kind of view you have. It's specific to you, and it's whatever is the most convenient and logical for you. You can change your settings at any time, so don't be afraid to experiment to find out what discussion board setup works best for you.